Once again, it is a packed webinar, so so if you guys are on, I'm hoping that you guys will stay on for the entire time. Even if you have to leave, just make sure that you stay signed on, because it's not for certain if you will be able to log back on, as this is a maxed out webinar. Okay, so some of the things that we're going to be talking about today is actually the full P.O.D formula. And this 5-step P.O.D formula is actually for print on demand. This will be something to definitely use when you're hopping on for preparation of Q4. So in this webinar, I'm going to give you guys some strategies on how to actually find print on demand products or things to actually take from, what type of platforms to use, exactly what that is, how to test these items, how to scale these items, and also how to create a funnel based off of this. And also, if you guys are sticking around, we're giving away a free $100 giveaway. So definitely stay in tune to see exactly how to enter in to win that $100. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know some more people are trying to get on. Once again, like I said, it's a full maxed out webinar, so you may not get back on if you happen to lose your space. All right, cool. So to get started with the P.O.D formula, first off, what is P.O.D? Once again, that is print on demand. Now, this is a process where individual copies or small numbers of a text or graphic are printed to order, typically using digital technology. So for some examples, this can actually include shoes, mugs, shirts, hoodies, canvases, curtains, floor mats. Basically, any of these things that you can actually print on, and you can white label them, you can create your own design, you can create your own sayings and actually place them on shirts and on top of different designs in order to sell. And basically the way that this works is, as soon as somebody orders, they're going to go ahead and now send this order over to a platform that's going to print this for you. So they have the ink, they have the product. All you really need is the design. You're responsible for finding the design and the marketing, and then whenever it sells, they'll go ahead and send that out for you inside of a with a flat fee. So basically, it's pretty much done for you. All you have to do is just market it and find the right type of design to place on top of the shirt or on top of the product that you're using. So some of the platforms, if you guys don't know or haven't used this before, is Pillow Profits, T-Launch, Custom Cat, Gear Bubble, Art of Wear, Printify, Printful, and Viral Style. So now some of my favorites are actually Pillow Profits and T-Launch. We have made a lot of money through those. And another one is actually Gear Bubble. Now, specifically Gear Bubble here, all of these can be seen on your Shopify app store when you actually go in, except for Gear Bubble. And the reason being is because Gear Bubble, you have to create your own private app within it. They definitely tell you how to do it, but what's great about them is that they have one of the most unique platforms, meaning that they can go ahead and allow you to create lockets and different things that some of these other places don't necessarily have. Another thing with Pillow Profits that's been really killer, especially lately, is that they can create boots and shoes and stuff as well. And T-Launch, they create curtains, canvases. So it's like, if you can get the proper dimensions and the right type of PNGs and PDF files, whatever it is that you need, to these different platforms, they'll definitely take care of you. All right, and how many people have actually done print on demand before? I just want to get a head count inside of the questions bar. All right, so we're just getting a quick head count on how many people have actually done print on demand inside the questions before we move on. Okay, cool. So it seems like a lot of people have actually done it before. Some have never done it. Okay, cool. All right, and excuse me as we go ahead and We're going to go ahead and move forward in just a bit. Looks like there's a little bit of technical issues before we can actually move on. All right, cool. So we're ready to go ahead and move on here. All right. So the reason why you want to use print on demand is because print on demand makes good gifts and does well in Q4. And so when I say that they make good gifts, basically, it's kind of like the last minute thing that you can get within this quarter. So when we talk about Q4 and you hear this over and over again, you actually have that actually talks about the fourth quarter of the year. This is when people are more so buying gifts for presents. They're trying to get something for their father, for their mother, things that are they're more passionate about, and something that actually defines an actual person. So the thing about print on demand is that if you can actually find a good niche with a winning product, and you can set up a new pipeline of sales for your e-commerce business, which means that you don't have to wait till fourth quarter to sell this again, but you can actually sell it next year as well. After fourth quarter, within the summer, you can continue to find different products within inside this niche, because now your pixel is now aligned to this type of niche. So once you actually step your foot inside the door for these niches, they tend to actually be long-term winning niches for you. All right, cool. So number one would be to actually find your design. And so to find your design, you can actually use Teespring. You can use viralstyle.com. You can use sunfrog.com, the Google shortener, the Bitly shortener. All of this you're going to use inside of your Facebook research to find a shirt to text. All right, and so we're actually going to go ahead and move forward on that so that you can actually see what that looks like. That you can actually see what that looks like when you're searching for these type of items. All right, so we're just going to switch screens right here really quick. Okay, cool. And so we're moving on to this screen, and we're just going to write in something like Teespring. All right, and the reason why we're putting that in is because when you write anything inside of your Facebook search, what you're actually doing is you're now searching for these different keywords that's going to be within inside here. So you'll see some people writing Teespring, especially if you put teespring.com. Let's actually revise that. So we're going to put teespring.com, and you're going to see people that's using their link with teespring.com. All right, and don't be fooled by some of these. Don't be fooled by some of these different posts. One thing would be that some people will actually use different videos and different pictures in order to gather the niche's interest to actually find some of these items. So some examples of these print on demand. I'm just going to choose on this one right here. Is how this one says, whoever said diamonds are a girl's best friend never owned a bulldog. All right, so now this particular shirt is actually based on the niche of bulldogs, which is definitely a great area to go with. A lot of people go for just in general pets or just go for general dogs, but when you actually go further inside of these niches, you can actually go and find the actual breed that people are actually liking. Some of the terminology that they're using, maybe like a bulldog mommy, or pit bulls. You can actually use piggies and things like that in order to grasp the interest of that niche, and then really continue to sell and pound them with different things, creating a return buyer from this niche, meaning that more and more people are going to come back, buy one item, see if they like it, and then buy even more. All right, and so now what we do on our side is that we find something that shows that it has great potential. So we're looking for mostly engagement. So if this ad here has a lot of engagement, what we're going to do is we're going to then take the information from this and actually repeat the same process that they did. So we may actually put in our own different design to it if we feel like there's a way for it to go better. A big key there is actually that darker shirts and darker sweaters actually sell better than lighter ones. But basically, we can actually take this and we can either put our own twist on it, we can make it look better, we can do it for a different niche that we already know. And basically just kind of find some different ways that we can do it. For instance, I see here that it says never owned a, and it looks like it's all one word, as well as girl's best friend. So for me, I would probably clear that up and clear up whoever said, and then actually get a different logo and even change the font for Bulldog. And now I have my own shirt that says the same thing, and now I just market it to my people. All right. And there's just different things that you can do. Here goes actually a fitness one. a little bit more on the humor side. And let's see if we can find some of these that are actually hidden. We have veteran shirts. All right, and like I said, so we're actually on post. Let's go to all. So we're going to click on all so that we can kind of get a better scene of this.
Start tonight with it.
Okay, and here's the reason why I clicked on this, because I know that I clicked on it because there's some type of keyword in that says teespring.com. Now, here's what they're doing. They're using this that got millions of views in order to basically sell their shirt. So in this case, they used a news footage, something viral, in order to gather their information. But what they're doing is that they're actually selling this on the inside of it. All right, so one thing is actually a really good tactic. The only thing that I don't like is that the design is not good. So when you're looking at the design for a shirt, it should really be a PNG, because what's going to happen is it's going to print this big black square here, and they're going to print it onto their shirts. And there's actually really good money to this. Before Shopify, we actually started off in Teespring, and we did really well creating shirts. So I can tell you that selling shirts and different items actually does work, as well as shoes and so on and so forth. Okay, and so as you can see, there's just a lot of different things, and it looks like they're going for different areas. Some of the shirts that they use are a little bit better than these ones, and so on and so forth. And once again, like I said, you're looking for the views. You're looking for it to have millions of views and things like that, so that you can actually have a better opportunity of making the sale. Whenever you're doing product research, it's not really telling you, okay, this item is for certain going to sell. But whenever you see like the engagement, it can kind of tour you into the right place so that you can see which one is more probable for a sale, so that you don't waste your money on all the things that are doing bad, but on all the things that are already tested and are already doing good. All right, and so to go ahead and we can actually spend like all day just going through these and finding different shirts. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave that for you guys. There's actually a post that we had already gathered together for you guys that we're gonna use it as an example, and it's this one right here. So also another thing with print on demand, they still can't be trademarked, you guys. So so certain things that you want to do, such as getting around them. This one is actually of Edgar Allan Poe. He's been dead for some years, so he's definitely not something that's trademarked. He actually has a book with a famous quote. And so with this famous quote, this person has actually shared this and created it onto a shirt. And so what we will want to do is recreate this so that we can go ahead and sell it ourselves. And so this one is it has about like 7.7 thousand likes, 3.142 shares, and 288 comments. The main thing is that when I'm looking through it is that I see that they're still commenting within the recent minutes, which means that they are still currently marketing this. And if they're still currently marketing it from July 28th, it means that they're still making sales from it. Not to mention, for one, with all the shares, that means that there's tons of social impressions that people are going with. And then even some of the Even some of the messages tell me that people have already bought it. So what that does for me, that tells me that it's in demand, and that's what the reason why we chose this shirt to do on this webinar today. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and go back to our keynote here and move forward. So that's the example of that's actually the example of us using our using Facebook in order to find the right product. Okay, and so when we revert back to here, the next thing that you have to do is now test your shirt. Now, when you're testing print-on-demand products, it's a little bit different than what we normally teach for regular products. So if you guys have listened to us before, you know that there are many different ways to test products. You know how we test our products. Now, with print-on-demand, you actually take about like 5 to 10 different shirts and you run it as a PPE first. And the reason being is because you want to check for the engagement. First, you want to see if you're going to be able to target the right type of people. And then you're also going to see, which shirt is it that you want to focus on. So the main key to any type of product research is gather as many possible sellers as you can. And then what you do is you begin to narrow them down based on the information that you receive from your ads. So in this case, we're going wide in variety of different print-on-demand products to try to see which one would actually fit better. So the whole goal of this is not to get sales, but for one, to provide social proof. People feel more comfortable when they see that there's lots of different posts and they see that there's lots of different shares. They see that there's lots of different likes that's going to a product. So they feel a little bit more comfortable with their sale rather than something that doesn't have anything on it. It looks a little bit more scammy. It doesn't look really trustful. And then also, once again, it helps you kind of define between those 5 which one is actually getting a sale. This is also budget friendly for you. So for instance, we test our stuff out at lifetime budgets with $100 lifetime budgets, which typically run for a day $10 to $15. Now with the shirts, you don't necessarily know if they're going to sell, and you want to test many different shirts. So for us, running 5 different products would go anywhere to about close to $550. So $550, but if we're testing it with PPE first, we could cut that in half and save $500 by just doing $10 and seeing which one is going to run better. So we test that for 24 hours. We see what type of engagements it's giving us, and then we go ahead and we quickly turn off the winners. We quickly turn off the losers. And if we want the winner to gain a little bit more social proof, then we'll go ahead and let it run maybe a couple more days. But the main goal of this is to see if we got the right type of targeting, to see if we got the right type of crowd, and if this item is going to sell before we actually convert it into our website conversion. All right. And so actually one of the key points before we even move on from here is actually outsourcing your design. So you do have to actually create your design. So let's actually backtrack to there. So when you're creating your design, one of the main ways to do it is through Fiverr. You can do it through Fiverr, or you can actually outsource it through Online Jobs PH or Freelancer. I typically like Freelancer. And the best way to actually do it is when you're outsourcing it through like Freelancer or Online Jobs PH, is find a graphic designer that will actually do it for commissions, because then they'll be able to send you many different designs for you to test out. What you do is you let them know is that as soon as you're able to sell 100 shirts, that you'll actually give them 10% of the earnings, and that way you're able to get a lot of different potential sales from. You actually get a lot of different graphic designs for your daughter, rather than paying about $25 per product, which can actually get pretty expensive. All right, and so the reason why we use PPE, going back, is just because it helps you to send a lot more of these products out rather than doing the going straight from website conversion. All right, so now we're back. We're converting our winners from the PPE into the website conversion. So when you convert your winner to website conversion, you're going to use 7 different ad sets. You're going to use worldwide, but you're going to exclude some of the more poor countries and some of the countries that that typically give you trouble as far as high risk orders and chargebacks and things like that. And so for me, or actually for a lot of our different students, we always have trouble with Asia, Africa, Romania, Albania, and Bulgaria. So we just automatically exclude this off top. Now there is the location of worldwide, where you just type in worldwide, one word, and it will go ahead and target everybody in the world. Another key point on that as well, though, is to keep an eye on your the countries, because you can reach out to so many different countries to make sales, but at the same time, sometimes there's some countries that will become blockages, and it more so depends on the targeting and who your ad account is used to actually targeting themselves. So as your pixel gets a little bit more comfortable and it begins to start knowing who it wants to target, you don't want it to typically go for always the cheaper traffic, which could possibly be a no-good country. So it's important to take a look at your breakdowns, see what country is causing you trouble. There's been plenty of times that we've actually had students who sold the exact same thing, was actually getting sales, doing great. And the number one thing that was happening with them was that one was actually getting sales from Brazil, and one person was not getting sales from Brazil, but they were getting a lot of clicks from Brazil. And so when we actually came together, they were actually at an MNU house. When we came together, we actually boosted one specifically for Brazil, then we boosted one excluding Brazil, and both did good. And so the thing about it, the whole moral of the story is that not all the time is it that one country or one targeting is going to work for a specific area. You have to remember that when you're doing these different interests, that you're actually competing against people that's targeting for the same thing. So your ad account becomes accustomed to whoever's bidding for it, or whoever's creating the bid lower. So for one person, Brazil was actually dragging their ad account down, and the one that was making sales with Brazil, it only boosted them further when they went a little bit further with that country. Now the person that wasn't making sales with Brazil, when we actually excluded Brazil, their product actually did better than the one that was making sales with Brazil. So it's just kind of like the name of the game. There's different things you have to figure out. How can you get around your competition? Sometimes it's not your interest. Sometimes it's not your countries. Sometimes it's just because you have to know your audience in order to really scale up that winner. Okay, so also with this, you're also going to do a one-click conversion. And so when you're doing your conversion windows, what some people don't realize is that this actually does make a difference. So if you're doing 7-day conversion windows, through our test, we actually show that 7-day conversion windows do not convert as much as one-click conversion windows. And yes, that's one-day click, not one-day click or view, but just one-day click. They just typically do better. What happens is that Facebook begins to gather the information from the course of a day rather than the course of 7 days, in order to expand the conversions that they're going for, or get the ad in front of those people that are similar to the people that clicked after 1 day rather than just people that clicked after 7 days. All right, and then when you're converting this as well, you're doing a lifetime budget for 7 days. And so basically, if I was to actually start an ad tonight at 12 o'clock, which would be August 16th at midnight, which means that I want to go ahead and stop it for the 23rd, for the 24th at 12 o'clock a.m. So I get a full 7 days within this. All right, and when you're converting over to website conversion, also what you want to do is test out a video versus a picture. Depending on the product, depending on the niche, depending on the audience, things actually change. Sometimes video works better than picture. Sometimes picture works better than video, especially in the world of print on demand. So now you're kind of split testing your ads, not the ad set, not the campaign, but split test the ad to allow some of your traffic to go to the picture, to allow some of your traffic to go to the video. Now with the video, you actually want to create a link post video, which means that it has a shop now button on it. And what that does is it actually increases your click-through rate because people are actually clicking on shop now. They know exactly where to go to click on it. At the same time, videos are actually cheaper when it comes to clicks and actually watching it because it only takes about 3 seconds to count as a click. So your cost per click goes down, which also helps you expand to more people. Now with the picture, sometimes people just need that still picture, that still image in order to show the right type of product for them. So sometimes, and then also because it's an existing post, it actually has that social proof, and sometimes those products actually need that. So a lot of this is also split testing. Whenever you're scaling more, there's more split testing to see who's actually going to be your winner. So this is when you're actually focusing in on, okay, how can I make this product better? How can I make my cost per purchase cheaper? Because you can get sales, but if your cost per purchase is still high, or your average order value is too low compared to your cost per purchase, you're not really doing anything, if anything, but more so losing money. And so you want to convert your winners by using this method right here. That's seven ad sets for 7 days at $100 lifetime budget. All right, and then after that, you want to kill and track your data. So within 24 hours, you're going to look for either a sale or for a cost per ad to cart of at least $1. And so this is in the period of 1 day. Now, if the ad set does not have a sale doesn't have a sale and the cost per ad to cart is less than $1, you're going to let it sit for 72 hours, but no more than 72 hours if it does not have a sale. At the same time, when you're doing that, you're not just letting it sit, but you're also seeing what age ranges, what genders, but you're seeing what countries are either jamming up the sales or what can you possibly focus on more to get the sale. So within those 3 days, you're checking all of that out through your data and your analysis within your reports. And if it still doesn't sell, don't let it go more than 3 days. Go ahead and kill it because you can still make some more sales based on the other items that you have. And if you're still focused on one for too long, make sure that you don't get stuck in a place where you feel like you're trying to make something work, because you can actually move on to a whole nother item, and it can be a lot easier than the one that you have. So give it that 3-day grace period in order to get itself together. And if it doesn't work, just move on to the next one. Like I said, on print on demand, there's a lot of testing that goes along with it. But once you actually find your winner that actually take place of your testing, one item can actually make you 30K in 1 day. So just keep that in mind, that something can really take off and help out whatever you're testing. The person that tests the most wins the most. All right, so now you're actually going to scale it, and then you're going to add it. And so now you're going to scale your ad, and then you're also going to create a funnel for it now. So when you scale your ad, you're going to scale it by either increasing the lifetime budget and the lifespan. So if it ran for 3 days, I see that my cost per purchase is good. I see that the sales are increasing. Now I want to add more money to it. So I'm going to take however much was made. So however much was spent. Say that I spent $150 within the last 3 days, or the last 4 days. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take that. I'm sorry, less than that because it's a $100 lifetime. So say that I spent $75 within the last few days, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that 75, and I'm gonna add 700 onto it. So now I'm gonna put 775 for 7 days from the day that I'm starting the new ad set. So I'm not duplicating, but I'm adding more days onto the lifetime ad, and then I'm also adding more, budget to the lifetime, so that now I can get more sales. Now the whole thing about the budget is that the budget is what controls how many auctions you can enter into a day. So that's the reason why you always want like a higher budget, especially in lifetime. When you have a lifetime ad, what Facebook tends to do is actually find the days that have more opportunities for sales and use more of your money on that day. And if it doesn't have opportunity for sales, meaning that they see less auctions based off of the interest that you gave and the data that it's already received, it's going to spend less and save some more of that budget for another time so that it can do better with the sales. Facebook does actually want you to win because they know that the more sales that you have when you're doing website conversions with purchases, the more that you're going to spend with them. So they definitely want to find you the purchases so that you can continue to purchase ads from them. All right. At the same time as you're increasing the budget and the lifespan, you're also testing a manual bid. So you can do a manual bid of about $55 budget, $35 bid, or so on and so forth. The reason why you want to test your manual bid versus your lifetime budget is because you want to see what is the best way to scale it. So sometimes, the manual bid might not take off, but then the lifetime span will. Sometimes both will. Sometimes just the lifetime budget will. Sometimes just the manual bid will. And so what your main objective is to now see how is the scalable. So now you're testing your methods of scaling in order to increase your profit. All right. And so with this as well, you're also going to create a ClickFunnels sales page. All right. And so now this is where the more technicality part of it comes in. So when you create the ClickFunnels sales page, you're now going to be able to capture their email. You're now going to be able to upsell them. The thing about a ClickFunnels sales page is that the ClickFunnels itself, you can add so much more to it. There's so much more things that you can do within the sale. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you the sales page that we created with this. All right, and if you guys are asking questions, our question box has seemed to have been disabled for some reason right now, so I do apologize if I have not seen it. We'll try to get that back on track so that we can take a look at some of those questions that you guys have at the end of this webinar. And actually, we just got it back, and I see an exclamation mark on Indonesia. Yes, definitely. Get rid of Indonesia inside your targeting. Definitely had some bad experiences with Indonesia. Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up. See if we can get this going here. For some reason, it doesn't want to show, which is okay because we can actually still just move it over. So we're just going to go ahead and open up this squeeze page that we created for this particular product. And open it up. All right, cool. So here we go. And so this is actually the sales page that's put together with it. So here you can see that you can add more information to it. And this is just pretty much like a basic one. So I have the markdown price from what it is, $27.95. I have the shirt up as well as put it on somebody. You can get somebody to graphically design that. And you also have the when the offer expires as well. So it creates a little bit more scarcity. It shows them that they will want to buy now. All right, and so now you're going to see a lot of these buttons throughout your funnel. But the main thing that you want to do here is that you want to increase your content. You can put pictures of the shirt on people. You can show different types of pictures of it. And you can show different badges. You can talk about it a little bit more. So we talked about Edgar Allan Poe. Why would you like Edgar Allan Poe? Who is he? What is it that he does? And you can gather all this off of Google. And I definitely gathered all this information off of Google. It's actually been 10 years since I've been in high school, so I know for sure I don't know anything about him. But we have pictures of the actual full poem that this was, as well as different pictures and just a little information about him. So it's not a whole lot, but what it does is it makes it even more mobile friendly because ClickFunnels can withstand loads of people coming onto it. So that's something that some people don't know. If your page is actually slowing down and you're getting a lot of clicks on people on an item that was actually doing pretty well, it could be that your theme cannot handle the amount of traffic that has to it. So what has to happen is that you have to lower your traffic, which means that you have to lower your money. So that's never good. So the more that you're actually sending more traffic to the product is the moment that you want to create a ClickFunnels page so that you don't have that type of information, so that you don't have that type of things to it, unless you have a very good theme. that's going to help out with that. All right, and so and then some more of the magic here is that there's a couple of things that happens when they do it. So so with this particular page, it's good to have a spill out page, which means that if they don't want to buy, or maybe they just don't like the shirt, because with clothes, you know, there's so many different things that you can do. So if they click on the no but show me more, they're going to be redirected to a place where they can put their email for more information. And then when they actually put in their information here, now you keep them forever. Now they're on your email list. You can send them different shirts. You can send them even more things that have to do with this. Even more sales, things that you just find on AliExpress randomly that have to do with this type of product. Now you can send them those type of things within the email later. But once they click on see more and they enter in their information, their name and their email, they're going to be redirected to your they're going to be redirected to either another Click on Us page with even more products that they can go to, or you can just go ahead and redirect them over to your collections page where they can choose different products as well. And so throughout all of this, basically, if they don't want to buy the item, you still actually keep their information and then you give them another chance to buy. All right, so let's go back. So what happens if they do buy? All right, because obviously they're going to need to choose their size, maybe even colors if you have different colors. So what you do is when they click on the button, now a pop-up comes up with their information. So they can choose their size here. And it just shows a picture of it again. They choose their size. And what happens from the size is that now they get another upsell. So this is not an app. This is actually still ClickFunnels. It just sends them to another page. And they can buy the coffee mug with the same thing for $15 more. Add this for $10 more. And then add this for $15 more. All right, and so the major key thing about this is that as soon as they click on it, so if they click on add this backpack for $15 more, and we used our Make Noise University page for this as well, but as you see, it's already added into the cart, and so you're going to use permalinks to do that. We'll probably be teaching on how to actually build it next week. A little bit more technicality on it, but it adds both of those inside there. So it's the small and as well as it's the backpack. And so it has all the information. It's added it right into the cart, and they can buy it here. So you don't need to get another processor. This actually improves the your conversion rate within inside your store as well, because it makes it smooth and easy for them to get to. So it's just like they click again, and now they have their upsell or whatever they need. And then as well, if they don't want the upsell, you still need the spill off. So if they say, no, I just want the shirt, it's okay. They just add just the shirt over to their site. Okay? So yeah, so now that I have the questions available, I'm gonna take a few questions before we actually move on. And once again, we are doing a $100 giveaway. So still stay tuned so that you guys can have the information on how to enter that. Okay, and so one of the questions is, what do you do when you have so many abandoned carts, but you still have the abandoned cart protector? You may want to test out, so if you're having a lot of different abandoned carts, that's actually still a good thing, because it does show that that people are trying to add the item. It means that it's in demand, and that you have the right, and that you do have the right targeting. But what you want to do is see exactly who they are that's trying to buy, because if you have, once again, a blockage within the countries to where you're reaching people that's not giving other people opportunity to buy, then you're not really going to receive the sale. So you want to make sure that these are people that can actually buy, rather than people that are not ever going to buy. For example, Indonesia. So that's one thing. Another thing too is, if you're not getting a conversion within your abandoned cart, try out different split test your different email copies to see which one will work best. See if your abandoned cart percentage will actually go up. Now, if you're not getting any sales but a lot of abandoned carts, then that's a cue to either lower your price, see what actually works. Sometimes it's not that the item won't sell, but then sometimes it's that it won't sell for a price that's going to give you a profit. So so there's a lot of different things that you want to take a look into. But once again, my best suggestion is to do is like, you know, give it about 3 tries. If it still doesn't convert, don't spend too much time on that product. Also make sure that it's a smooth checkout for your customer. There's been a lot of people that because they received sales before, they don't realize that maybe something changed inside their shipping, or an ad no longer works, or things like that. And so now they're not getting sales, and people are just abandoning the cart. So like I said, there's a lot of things that you can do in order to make sure that that you're still receiving the sales. Yeah, so a thing that is recommended if you're having a lot of blockage with traffic is actually the Brooklyn theme. Is actually a really good free theme in order to get. There's only about like maybe like 2 different things that we use. One theme that we build ourselves, and another theme which is Brooklyn. And then there's a few themes out there, but that we're not going to give away on the webinar. But Brooklyn is actually a pretty good theme to get. It actually handles the traffic pretty well. The only thing I don't like about the Brooklyn theme is that it has a small button. So if you can, there is a way to actually get a coder to get rid of that, or if you know how to do it yourself, just increase the button, and it'll actually be pretty well for you. Actually, the other question is, or do you have to manually order the shirt from the P.O.D. platform? No, it actually prints it automatically. So as soon as somebody buys it, they print it automatically. Some of these platforms, they have the option of you to withhold when you want it to be sold. So it says as T-Launch, you can actually push a hold button so that you can wait till you're ready and your account is ready to withstand as many orders that's coming in. Works really well when you have high volumes of customers coming in, because other than that, they're going to be swiping your card all day. And then what you do is you just kind of wait 3 days until you actually receive the money. Then you can go ahead and allow them to swipe all they want. But the main thing about it is you don't have to worry about fulfillment. Basically, they handle everything for you. Okay, and for the models of the T-shirts, we actually got those off of Google and just kind of placed them on them ourselves. And you can also have you can also have the graphic designer that does the shirts for you. You can have them do that as well. Like I said, if you get somebody working for commission, they'll do a lot more for you. And no, ClickFunnels actually does not connect to the P.O.D. platform unless you specifically talk to them and get with their tech people. But if you're doing it with the permalink going directly to Shopify, which we'll go over a little bit next week, or next time, sorry, not next week, but we'll go over a little bit next time, that will actually trigger it to be sold and then going directly to your Shopify app there. The next question is, do I recommend PayPal? Me and PayPal, well actually, you and PayPal have a very big reputation with PayPal. So a lot of bad experiences. I don't recommend PayPal because they are pretty much known for holding money. I've seen people that haven't had any problems with it. As far as I know, maybe like 2 people. But most of the time, a lot of people actually receive some type of problem with it. They withhold your money and don't give it back for like 9 months or shut down your account. The main thing is that they're not really drop shipper friendly. So I don't really recommend PayPal in order to receive payments from. Okay, and so I'll just take one more question, or actually a couple. Yeah, we'll take one more. So the question says, imagine if you have one sale with website conversions, how long do you let it run again to watch if you get sales? So that's more of a management of how much is this going to cost you. So let's say that, for instance, this item here, if we got it off of T-Launch, it's going to cost us about like $12.50 to fulfill. So if I'm charging them about $27.99, and that's without shipping. So if I was charging $27.99 without shipping, then I'm looking at about like a $13 deficit, and that's inside of US. So I'm getting a $13 profit. So with that, I'm looking to see how long is it going to take me to receive another sale. I'm looking at the cost per purchase. So my cost per purchase, I want to be somewhere around like maybe like $9 or so. I want to keep it pretty low if depending on how much I'm making per order value. So that so like one key thing about that upsell is that it changes your upsell order value, and you can see that on the back of your Shopify. So however much you're receiving per order, and how much does it averagely cost you will determine on how long you will let that run. And so I hope that actually makes sense. It's just based on how much is it going to cost you per order to fulfill the item and inside of ads. Now, within that whole time, you're still also testing different ways to get your, you're still actually testing different ways to get your average order value, get your cost per purchase down. But typically, I would say usually no more than 3 days. And you will actually get that. Sometimes you get a sell as a fluke, and you're waiting to scale it. So you won't actually go forward with this unless that one ad set has 2 or more sales, and it's selling consistently. So don't put in too much time and effort on just one sale. Don't go crazy like that. This can actually work with the free just pay shipping model, not print on demand. It's too expensive. Print on demand is just way too expensive for free just pay shipping. But the funnel and everything that we did here, that'll work great with free just pay shipping as well. Okay, and for those of you that missed PPE, PPE is a paid post engagement. So that means that it's a different way that you run your ads to where the ad is an existing post, and what it does is Facebook charges you per engagement of that ad, and not by whether somebody buys it or how many people are adding to the cart or anything like that. So what Page Plus Engagement does is it gets people to like your post, to comment or to share it really fast, because that's what it's being charged for. Do I ever dark post? Yes, actually when you create that link post with the Shop Now button, that actually creates the dark post. So that's why you're kind of testing between the dark post and the existing post. So you're testing with the video of dark post, for one, because it shows bigger, as well as the existing post. Now, the further that you go, the main goal is to try pretty much everything. So you're testing, so you will actually test a picture with the link post too, but I would do that a little bit later on, mainly because with print on demand items, they need them to be big so that they can actually see them a little bit better. They just tend to sell better like that. So that's the reason why I only do the Shop Now button with the video, because that won't change the size of the video. But when you do a link post or a dark post with a picture, then basically the size of the picture disappears, unless you create it as an existing post first and then dark post it. But then it takes away some of the amenities of having a dark post in the first place. So like a Shop Now button won't be able to be added on an existing post, but it won't show up on your fan page. And so, I mean, there is a way to use that strategically, not really with this technique, but typically I would do only a link post after all this is already in place. So after you get all this in place and you get the consistent sales, it's doing pretty well, then you can kind of just play around with whatever that you want. All right, cool. So so now for the $100 giveaway, you guys, one of the main things that you want to do with this giveaway. All right, so we're giving away $100 by raffle based on whoever makes a post and tags Nate O'Brien in it. So create that tag with Nate O'Brien in it, and just talk about the type of value that you had. So if you had any type of value within this, if you actually see some things that you're willing to try right now, Go ahead and talk about it. You're going to enter into a raffle, and we'll be announcing the winner of the $100 tomorrow. We are giving away $100. We're known for giving away. We're known for being a man of our word on our gifts. So go ahead and make your post. Talk about how well it is. Make sure you do that tag, because we might not know who did it. There's a lot of people in here. If we don't know, if we don't have your name on that tag, then we just don't have a way of finding out, of adding you to the raffle. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and end it here. We're going to do a little bit more tomorrow, and I'll see you guys shortly.